A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
And Jesus said to his apostles, "Beware of men. They will hand you over to Sanhedrins and scourge you in their synagogues. You will be dragged before governors and kings for my sake, to bear witness before them and the pagans. But when they hand you over, do not worry about how to speak or what to say. What you are to say will be given you when the time comes, because it is not you who will be speaking. The Spirit of your Father will be speaking in you. And brother will betray brother to death, the father his child. Children will rise against their parents and have them put to death. You will be hated by all men on account of my name, but the man who stands firm to the end will be saved." This is the gospel of the Lord.
The gospel this morning is talking about, or referring to the type of martyrdom Stephen endured. And it's a martyrdom that comes to very few people, thank God. But it's a martyrdom that in the midst of it, God says, and Jesus says in God's name, that I will be with you, do not be afraid. And so, please God, none of us will have that martyrdom. But every one of us will have martyrdom. And every one of us will experience what it's like to be a martyr. And every one of us will experience what it's like to be abandoned, to have no hope, to be afraid. And then in those moments, every one of us will have God's presence to encourage us. What kind of martyrdom will we have? Well, people have martyrdoms all the time. In the sense that if you have a good, steady job and you're laid off and there's no hope for another job and you have your family to feed and take care of, you have a house to make payments to, that moment when all that comes home to you is an unbelievable martyrdom. If you are a person and have a relationship and the relationship gets broken, all of that comes to a point. And in that brokenness and there's no more future, that is a martyrdom. And there's a great, almost despair touches the heart and says, well, what will be in the future? And in that moment, our God comes to us. And some of us will have the martyrdom when we go to the doctor and the doctor says, you do have cancer. What do you do in that moment? And like moments after, you can start to deal with it. But in that moment, all the world comes crashing down. And God is telling us this morning, in that moment, I too will be with you. You might not be able to hear me, but I will be standing with you. And there's a martyrdom that comes when you get old, when you lose the ability to do what you used to do, and to be able to let go of that, all the things you could have done or you used to do, and now you just can't do it anymore. And it's very hard because the quality of life goes down. And then if people decide, because you can't decide yourself, you have to go into a home and you have to leave the house that you've always lived in and the neighbors that you always had. That's a martyrdom. And I think a great martyrdom too is when you're old and you are very ill. And that's part of all of our lives. We will touch one or two or three of those in our lifetime. It's life. It's not because we're good or bad people. It just happens. It is life. But what we're told really in this celebration today, like just after Christmas when everything is so lovely, we talk about martyrdom. Jesus is saying, I'm going to be with you, not just in the good times. I'm going to be with you in the difficult times. And it's in the difficult times we often discover the true meaning of our faith. We often discover, yes, God is really real and God is really present to me.
For all who have